Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here on the channel, Charles Morris. And in this video, I was going to redo what I was discussing from the videos that I have taken down. I made 3, and I wanted to do a much better job at explaining what a domestic violence situation does. It ends up getting you arrested. And I was taking down my videos because I didn't want to be offending people off of these videos, because I didn't want to make it look like I was going to say anything bad. What I meant was, I meant to not offend anybody, as in call the cops immediately.
Ready? Go!
The only times you call up the cops, and there's only one time that you obviously do this, and that is when there is a domestic violence emergency threat. Now, this gives you a clue about Brian Laundrie being the suspect of killing Gabbi Patito. Even though it's not confirmed, there's a pretty good chance that Brian Laundrie had strangled her to death. The coroner report was she was strangled to death. Could have been possibly Brian Laundrie. Yeah, according to that body cam footage, the police were responding to a call, a 911 call, and it was a man who reported a domestic dispute. And what the guy said was that the gentleman was slapping the girl. So, yeah. That gives you a clue on Brian Laundrie being suspected of strangling her to death.
Ready? Go!
Now, I wanted to say something about the police, first off. Or, not first off, but, in this video, because I thought it was pretty important, is that when you get yourself into these kind of situations, then that's where self-defense comes in there. And then, if you call up the police, you only do that if there is an emergency. If there is no emergency, then do not call them up. If Gabbi Patito knew how to defend herself against Brian Laundrie, in case she was being struggled by Brian Laundrie, then she should have taken that kind of action to prevent herself from being strangled by Brian Laundrie. Now again, Brian Laundrie being suspected of strangling Gabbi Patito, well, that's just a clue. It's not really confirmed. But what if he did? I'm sure he's capable of doing this. He's a narcissist to begin with. So if Brian Laundrie ever got mad with somebody and strangled somebody to death, I'm very sure this narcissist would be capable of doing so. So even though it is not confirmed that Gabbi Patito was strangled by Brian Laundrie, because he's a narcissist and narcissists are domestically violent with people, it gives you a big clue and a hint to be Brian Laundrie being the strangler of Gabbi Patito. So, that's a bit of info to share. Nancy Grace is covering this story. And there's a clue that Brian Laundrie had strangled Gabbi Patito. There isn't a confirmed police report saying he did strangle her, but there's a good chance that he did. Because you have clues that lead up to Brian Laundrie strangling Gabbi Patito. Because like I said, he's a narcissist, and narcissists are capable of doing so. And Brian Laundrie, according to Dog the Bounty Hunter, he'd been reading some demon killer books. And, you know, how to become a serial killer. The Dog the Bounty Hunter has actually warned people about Brian Laundrie possibly camping and reading these kind of books, how to become a serial killer. That might lead the clue that it might be one of the clues that we need, or that the police need, to prove that Brian Laundrie had strangled Gabbi Patito. So, there are clues. Evidence that the police find always lead to a trail of clues. Who was the killer? There's always clues in every investigation that can give you the heads up about, is this the person who did it? If that's the case, that Brian Laundrie did strangle Gabbi Patito, based on what I said about him reading these serial killer books that I announced on this channel, or this video, and this was information by Dog the Bounty Hunter, and him possibly strangling Gabbi Patito. These can be clues that could be used to prove that, yes, that Brian Laundrie did strangle Gabbi Petito. I can't prove that, but clues can lead to the actual. Clues can actually give you a hint onto who actually strangled Gabbi Petito. Now, with that, if Gabbi Petito knew about this ahead of time, she could have defended herself. And if she called up her parents and told her that Brian Laundrie was being a murderer to her, then they could have called up the cops, and they could have had Brian Laundrie arrested. But the only time you call up the police is if there is an emergency. Don't do it on, like some baseless just to scare somebody. Do it when they act like in a violent way, or if there's like some other emergency. You don't want to do it just to scare people, because then that is just a big no-no right there. You want to do this when there is an emergency. If you see somebody...
Ready?
If you actually experience or eyewitness somebody that is being physically violent toward another person, that stuff, yeah, that's the right time to be calling them up. But you never want to do it just to scare people. Because then, if you make the call and there's no emergency, whatever, then you'll be in pretty big trouble with the law. Like, you don't want to make baseless 911 calls, because that is where that will get you into trouble. And let me use an example. The guy... You probably heard about the guy who was at Capitol Hill, parked outside the library with his Ford pickup truck, or whatever truck he used, and he had something that looked like a bomb, but it was no bomb, and he's on Facebook Live, or his Twitter account, and he said, well, guys, I'm about ready to make a phone call. That's what his words were. And guess what happened? It was discovered that there was absolutely no bomb. He got himself arrested by Capitol Police. And that was just one of his stupid moves. You never want to call up law enforcement or 911 if there is a real big emergency. If you want to fake up an emergency and that stuff, well, guess what? You'll just get in trouble for that. All right, you don't want to mess around with the law, and you don't want to play with the law at all. So, yeah, really, this was one of those helpful videos I wanted to be making to you. There is no confirmation that Brian Laundrie did strangle Gabbi Petito, but there are clues that lead up to he did. That doesn't mean it's confirmed. It means it's possible that Brian Laundrie did strangle Gabbi Patito. Because he is a narcissist, so that is a clue right there. And according to Dog the Bounty Hunter, he's been reading these serial killer books. So that's another clue. And it's possible Brian Laundrie will not only get arrested for stealing what they believe to be Gabbi Patito's credit card, but also for murder. And that is where the cops only get called on for when there is a real big emergency like this. That when you're wanted by law, okay, that's no. It's not something to you should be scared when the law comes after you. If you're wanted for something, whether it's for homicides or whatever, you can expect you can feel that fear when they come after you. And if somebody calls the cops on you when there's a real big emergency and you get yourself arrested and that stuff, that fear and guilt piles up, and then it makes you feel sorry for what you did, and then you could be thinking to yourself, how can I live with myself? Or their self. Because if you're wanted by the FBI and you're like wanted for a lot of committing multiple felonies, that's not good. And if you're reported by somebody who called up the police, you better feel sorry for crime that you do. And the only time you call up the police is if there's an actual emergency. Like Gabbi Patito should have done that from the very beginning. And she should have figured out that Brian Laundrie was being domestically violent with her. And she should have been able to defend herself and that stuff. But she probably had her own issues that I'm not getting into any detail about what it is. But she should have... If she had her own problems that prevented her from calling the police, then I'm just going to say that's not good and just leave it at that. But she should have at least been able to call the cops and defend herself until police arrive. And she only should have done that for an emergency. But anyway, guys, Brian Laundrie could have strangled Gabbi Patito. There are a few clues that I wanted to give away on this channel, or this video, that would actually lead up to Brian Laundrie being the strangler here. And hopefully this helped clear some of that piece of the puzzle to this Brian Laundrie and Gabbi Patito case. And hopefully this has been helpful to you. Please comment, like, and subscribe to the channel, Charles Morris. And I will see you all in the next video. Have a good day.